Q&A. Lots of you asked questions last week and really liked the video, so I'm going to do another one now. I've got tons of questions to go through. I'm going to rattle through them as quickly as I possibly can. If you want to get a question in for next week's Q&A, leave it down below. Hit that like button if you liked it, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Has the better half continued learning playing golf? We're on pause. She's got a baby in her at the moment, so it doesn't help with the hip rotation. Give it a year, we'll get back into it. Does every golfer in the UK have a launch monitor and a YouTube channel? No, there are 4 guys that don't. Number 2, why do so many of them get so caught up with looks and feel, sounds of irons they are testing? Because unfortunately, everything out in the market is exactly the same in terms of feel and sound. There's not enough adjectives, so I'm with you, I have no idea either. Are you an ale or cider man on the 19th? Guinness in the winter, cider in the summer. Can we have a long drive match? Yes, £100 buy-in. Did you play many sports when you were younger apart from golf, tennis, badminton, quite a lot of racket sports? I think that's why my club head speed was naturally higher when I started the game. Why is anyone taking advice from a 3 handicapper? Because the majority of those people want to get down to a handicap of 3. Best game improvement, irons, blades, game improvement, ping all the way, blades, Mizuno all the way. Never had a 3-wood, should I get one? Do you need one? I think that's the bigger question. And Titleist, 930, 950, and you can get them for about 50, 60 quid each. Good starting point. Is it true that it's not worth getting fitted for a beginner? Yes, I would more focus on the lessons, coaching, and just practice. Enjoy the game. You don't need to get... If we came down for a game, could you get a playing partner to take us on? Yes, but we can't vlog it. What does it take to be a pro? I love this one because someone actually replied underneath for me. Get down to 4, get a job as an assistant pro, then pass your exams, or just become a +5 handicap golfer, turn pro and get on tour. As easy as that. Now, I'm pretty sure you mean tour pro rather than PGA golf coach, because you're off 7 already. Getting down to 4 is not going to be difficult. Then you do your playing ability. Then after that, your 3-year degree, 21,000 in student loans, 3 years in a pro shop. Hardly any playing, hardly any coaching, but then once you finish, you get to follow your dreams on YouTube. What does it take to be a tour pro? Is a very good question. And obviously I've never been there, so this is my insight into it. And this is something that I struggled with a lot, especially when I was even trying to get down to 4 to do my PGA degree. And that is coping with pressure. We talk about the physical element of the game a lot. We do 40 hours on the short game area, 20 hours on the driving range, 5 days a week in the gym. Everyone can do that is focused. The big thing that people don't want to look at, or maybe is scared to admit, is that maybe you're not mentally strong enough to be good at a sport under pressure. We see people of the highest quality crumble all the time in different occasions because the moment got too big. And yet we see people, when the spotlight's on them, they rise to the occasion. Training yourself, or whether you're naturally there or you need to train yourself to become that person, is a big key into it. And it's something I had to work on a lot with a sports psychologist and reading 20,000 Bob Rotella books to even pass my playing ability test. And that was my mountain, that was my milestone, purely so I could become a golf coach. Being a tour pro, there's different elements. You go from winning your county matches, going from winning nationals, going to all of a sudden challenge tour. You're in a different country, you're eating different food, you're not with your family and friends. You've got mountains of debt to racking up behind you so that you can make a cut each week. After you've done that, and also people, you still have to pay to enter these events. European tour events, there's still entry fees into these. And there's a lot of debt, there's a lot of pressure. And throughout history, we see people either crumble under the pressure or just don't enjoy the lifestyle, or you got the people that rise to it. And the mental game, being mentally strong, I think is the key to becoming a tour pro. Yes, having a great wedge game. Yes, hitting the ball a mile. Yes, being able to endure 4 to 5 days of golf, 25 weeks consecutively is very important. However, when you've got to hold that 8-foot putt, when you've got to find that fairway, that's when it matters most. And I think that's the difference between tour pros and your average golfers that play single figures, or even plus handicap golfers that go around from golf course to golf course in their area but then can drive home in the evening. That's the difference. What is the best feeling you've ever had in golf? Shot, situation, company, course, etc, etc. Past my playing ability. That was a bane of my life. I started playing golf when I was 18. I got down to 3. As soon as I got down to 3, I did my playing ability to become a professional golf coach. And yes, the playing ability, you have to shoot 15 over 2 rounds of golf, so that's 36 holes, which is easier said than done under the pressure circumstances. Different golf course. I'd never played an open, junior open, men's open, just my local golf club. So conquering the pressure, and finally when I did do it, I was 5 over through 35 holes, and I had 7 odd shots down this par 5. I basically just stabbed it down there, but I hold the putt finally so I could start my PGA degree to then become a coach. What a relief. Is 22 old to start learning golf and making a career out of it? Not at all. The only thing is golf is a very time consuming sport, so when you're a junior, it's easy to put the time and hours the game needs to get to a certain handicap. If you're able to put the time in outside of your work, your living, everything else, then 100% you can do it. There's no reason why you can't. Very time consuming, and realistically it's about 5-6 years in that you actually make any money. What crank driver should I start with when start long driving? I would say more loft the better. I started way too low at 4 degrees triple X. That was just stupid. It was like a rod. Go about 5 degrees, 6 degrees, 7 degrees, and just double X or even X. Started playing again after a 12-year break. I used to have a slice on my bad shots, but now I've developed a snap hook. Any thoughts as to why and any tips to correct it? Your club face is too shut now. It used to be too open, and obviously you do come across the ball a bit as well, out to in. But at the moment it's just too shut. That's why you're snap hooking everything. So look at your grip. It was potentially a bit too strong, or other principles in your swing that directly link to club face alignment at impact. Sapphire irons, how impact would have steel shafts? It's going to slow your swing down because obviously it's heavier. Maybe it might help with a bit more tempo. So if you're a bit quick in your swing, steel shaft. If you're not struggling for distance, it's going to lower that trajectory and ball flight. So if that's something that you want to look at, more control. How do stroke indexes work? I can't seem to figure them out. It's a lot more than just the hardest hole and the easiest hole. There's a lot of rules, like the first hole can't be ever lower than an 8, nor can the 10th, nor can you have 2 very hard holes close to each other. It's basically down to match play rather than anything else. So someone doesn't get a big advantage on like a load of holes and then no advantage on the others. It's a lot more complicated than that. When you first started playing, did you struggle to see how you'd ever get to low single figures? I'm going to say no, mainly because I was naive. I could hit the ball very fast, so it was easy for me to make the odd birdie. The only problem is my consistency was awful, and I was naive to know how much work it takes to get down to low single figures. I would say short game was massive. Practicing 70% short game, 100 yards and in, helped me get down to that last bit rather than anything else. I've been playing golf for a few months, but yet to get a handicap. I'm now looking to get into some lessons, but should I get a handicap first? No, just go and get some lessons. Enjoy the game, practice. You don't need to get a handicap straight away. Put your 3 cards in a year or so. At the moment, just get better, have a few lessons, enjoy the game. Multiple people mention my irons get an excessive amount of height. 7-8, 8 iron goes about 170. You obviously hit the ball very hard, which is great. It's just learning to control that. If you've got quite big irons, i.e. like cavity back irons, they're going to launch the ball very high. So maybe have a look at something a bit more bladey, a bit more combo set. But then also work on impact factors. You're obviously launching the ball quite high, which might mean that you're not hitting down on it as much. These are things to explore, but it's obviously a good problem to have. So I decided the other day to go and look for a new driver based on the realization that my driver was 21 years old. Now, regardless of what I've always said, especially a 21-year-old club, there's going to be some tech difference. You're going to get higher ball speeds with the newer tech today. There's no question about it. However, does that club still suit your game? Buying a new club off the shelf just because it's new doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be as good. So yes, getting fitted, I think you're going to see massive gains between that and obviously your old driver. Since the Callaway, FT9, TaylorMade Burner Series, etc. I implore you to have players hit those drivers versus modern ones. Now, I'm not saying technology hasn't moved on. The fact you've named 2 of the worst drivers ever made in that year doesn't help. Like if you look at the ping drivers around that time, like the G10 for example, or the Titler series, they were the game changers. I think the big thing now is every manufacturer is good because technology's moved on so much. Launch monitors have been key in club fitting, design. We know so much more about how a driver and ball work. So yes, I know there is a big difference. However, if you just bought a 2019 driver just because of an advert in the tech, doesn't necessarily mean that ball's going to go any further because you might have the wrong loft, the shaft, etc, etc. What are your thoughts on weight and weight distribution for a long driver? Right now, I'd say lightest possible grip and shaft, considering it has to be X, whatever, but some weight in the face to transfer energy. Weights in the head don't transfer any energy. The main thing for a big hitter is low spin, and that means you need to put as much weight to the forward of the driver as possible. If you don't hit it that far, you need as much weight at the back, get that high launch. Because you swing it fast, you need that low spin, you need that lower launch, so you basically don't balloon the ball. So yes, you look at long drivers, the majority of the weight in the heads are a lot narrower, so then that CG is as far to the face as it possibly can get to give you those results. Would you suggest playing with the same make of golf ball regularly, taking into account durability and price, and if so, what ball would you recommend? I'm going to do a video on this. Golf balls, cheap ones spin more, expensive ones don't spin more. That's why you need to hit the expensive ones hard to get anything out of them. For example, ping pong ball, cannonball. I'm going to do a video on this. Find a ball that suits your game and price point. At the end of the day, if you play off 28, then do not spend more than £15 a dozen of golf balls. You probably need that spin anyway to get the ball airborne. It's going to take off the side spin in your bad shots. And again, you're going to lose quite a few anyway. So cut your teeth on the cheap ones. If you have a fast club head speed, then potentially look at more expensive golf balls, but otherwise stick with whatever you like. So guys, there you have it. Thank you ever so much for asking me those questions. As I said, if you want to get into the next week's Q&A, then please leave your comments down below and I'll be sure to answer them. Guys, see you later.